As Christians, we learn to walk in different ways than we have before when we came from a life of sin. We learn to see our sin. We learn to repent. We learn to walk through Jesus' mercy, forgiveness, his love, his peace, his joy, right? We know what his sacrifice means for us, and we've accepted it. That's all very, very good for us to know and learn. But there's something that I notice in this world that we lack a lot of. And that something is something that can change a heart from stone into liquid. It's this thing is love. I noticed such a lack of it throughout our world between when I was in school and even just now out working out in public. It's just, there's a complete lack of it. And this is not the love that you feel when we're with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or that new love that you get when you're freshly married and you have that honeymoon type love. This is a love that God commands us to have. God commands us to have this kind of love, and no matter how many times somebody wrongs you, you're still supposed to give out that love. Matthew 23, verses 36 through 40 talks about the most important commandments. It talks about in verse 36 how it says one of the Pharisees tried to trap Jesus with a question of what is the most important, which Jesus replies, you must love your Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. Then he says that the second most important, which is in verse 39, is to love your neighbor as yourself. The two most important commandments that Jesus stated were both of love. That's got to say something. It's got to say something. Now in John 13, verses 34, 35, it says that Jesus has given us a new commandment. And it says to love each other just as he's loved us. There's 3 commandments on love right there. It says that our love for one another will prove that we are his disciples. Now, when we love one another, we're not just loving the people that are good to us or the others that love us. Luke 6:35, it says, Jesus says to love your enemies. We must love the ones that hate us, the ones that toss us on the ground, that trample over us, no matter how you're feeling, no matter if you don't want to. It's not about want. With love comes a softer heart for others. With love comes forgiveness for others. In Colossians 3, verses 12 through 14, it talks about what we should clothe ourselves with. It tells us that we should make allowances for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. And in verse 14, it says, above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. Out of the 4 places I pulled from the Bible, which there are many more, plenty more that talk about love, they're all commands. They're not choices, whether we should or shouldn't do them. They're commands. They're not recommendations, but commands. Now, I know most of you, pretty much know most of you here, already show up throughout your daily lives. I don't know how you are away from here, but at least within here, you guys show so much love to everybody. But if you haven't been giving out that love, just know that when you do, an overwhelming, even though you already walk with that joy and peace from the Lord, when you show that love, more will, come over you and just remain over you. And if you're wanting to grow more in your walk, say if you've been at a standstill, examine yourselves and look to see if you've left out the most important parts of being Jesus' disciple, which is that love. With love comes willingness for others, a willingness to give, serve, and forgive. We are called to do these things, and love makes them all easier to do.